Okay, hello guys. Welcome to Chat Jamaican. You know that I am your lady Tania, and today guys I am here in Guyana with an activist, and his name is Bevian King. I am correct, right?
Correct.
Bevian King. And guys, I just want to get a feedback from him of what life is in Guyana, and this interview will help you. It will be an eye-opener to Guyana itself, the people, and the worldwide. People will know more about Guyana. So the first question I want to ask Mr. King is, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a businessman. I'm also an activist for the People Progressive Party Civic. My job is to be a mediator between the government and persons within society, where we engage in situations and we also relay information and plans that the government has in moving forward to develop Guyana and to bring inclusiveness to Guyana. So I'm 44 years old. I'm a dad of one son,
Yes.
Avian. I am also the chairman for the policing group of Cummins Lodge.
Okay.
Yes, as well as community representative, not counselor, community representative.
Okay, so since you say that, what I want you to give me is to tell me now, is just to tell me about Guyana itself.
Well, Guyana is a really, really amazing country.
Yes.
A lot of persons don't really know Guyana until the other day, when the Exxon struck the oil. Well, we always had oil, but when Exxon made it known that oil is in Guyana and their intention is to produce oil from Guyana.
Oh, okay.
So, because a lot of times when you ask someone or you say Guyana, they think Ghana.
Because they're similar, the sound.
Yes, and the real Guyana was just a state that no one knew about. So the only thing, but if you tell them, oh, the country with Jim Jones,
Yes.
right away they know.
Who is Jim Jones?
Well, Jim Jones was, remember the story in the Interlands where he had a cult, where he poisoned out the people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when America came to arrest him and stuff like that. So that is a part of the history of Guyana, right?
Yes.
But Guyana was not well known. But so let me tell you about Guyana. Guyanese people, unlike most part of the world, you can go and knock on their door and ask them for a plate of food and you will receive it.
Yes.
We are generous, we are kind-hearted, and we are hardworking people. And I think the stigma attached to Guyana is not sufficient. It's not correct, and I think it's just isolated view by maybe some persons.
Yes.
But once you come here in depthly and you learn about our country and our culture, you will see it's incredible. We have 6 races, right? Diverse of people that brings collectively the best out of any nation that you can have. Right? We have different foods from the different cultures, the ethnic cultures. We have events, like for example, in Guyana on, let me say they have Mashamani. Everyone comes out. If we have Arrival Day, it's not only Indian persons.
Yes.
That will come to Indian arrival and celebrate it, or Pagua. It is Afro-Guyanese, indigenous persons, Portuguese, everyone comes together collectively to celebrate, right? So Guyana is a melting pot. And I think the America and the Europeans understand that, because they have worked to create a melting pot in those countries.
Yes.
It brings a nice flavor to the cook-up. As we would say in Guyana. Because in Guyana, cook-up is not just beef. It's beef, tripe, salt, beef, chicken
egg.
foot. Egg? This got egg in your, you ask for egg in cook-up?
No. Oh.
People don't quote me because I don't know about the egg. I don't know.
We really don't have the cook up in Jamaica, but I was eating some rice yesterday.
Yeah,
and
curry
egg
chicken or the chicken curry.
We have curry chicken.
Right. So Guyanese are very loving people, right? But there are some areas that we need to work on. But you can go anywhere and you can interact with them, and they will be so kind, and they will be generous, and they will be full of information to give you.
Okay.
So that is our culture.
All right. So as an activist here in Guyana, because you're very active within the community and the country, how has the transition been with people in society, as well as democracy during the no confidence motion?
Well, you see, I would like to say kudos to Mohammed Irfan Ali, which is the president of the Republic of Guyana. He has done a tremendous job in securing the people's minds and hearts that Guyana is moving forward. You see, at one point in time, our country was in turmoil. It was in a state of distress, and persons did not know where our country was heading, what would have come out of it. But after we went into power in 2020, the People Progressive Party Civic, they started to implement systems and the manifesto that...
within the 2 years, they have been doing a great job.
Excellent job.
Yes.
Because as you can see, almost all of the things, and in politics, there is no 100% surety that the government can please everyone all of the time.
Yes.
And that everything can be done right away. Mm-hmm. It is a process that needs to be ongoing. So what they did was they started to work on the promise. What we did was we started to work on the promise for the people.
Okay.
To ensure that these things were met that we had promised. And we have been on the right track, on the road to success with all of these projects. In fact, the projects are on stream, and we have added additional projects to ensure that Guyana will be boosted economically come 2023, 2024, 2025.
Yes.
So, the transition as far as socially with the people, there was a time where persons was feeling isolated, that there was no social activities, men were being demasculated. I don't know if you understand what men being demasculated is, so I'm going to explain to some persons, right?
Yes.
When a man is demasculated, is that during the no confidence and COVID and all of these things came into play, it put a stick or a stake in the hearts and minds of men. Because why? It was difficult to find jobs. It was difficult to move around in the country. And remember, a man is the head. That is why I think that the president had seen what has been happening, and when we went into the transition from no confidence and COVID into now being an open country, he saw the need for the men to be given, I would say, counseling and the opportunity to talk to people and socialize and be able to come back into society and normalize themselves and not be demasculated. So he came up with something called Men on Mission. Mm-hmm. That was an initiative from the president, whereas though he brought the men together so that we can start building one another, because there was a heavy surge of domestic violence in the country because of demasculation of the men.
Yes.
So
in terms of the positioning of the country now, are you proud of where the country is now?
Well, I am pleased with the work that the People Progressive Party Civic has been doing, and I'm imploring upon the president, the vice president, the whole cabinet to continue to work towards enhancing the lives of the Guyanese people and ensuring that all Guyanese are treated fairly on all sides of the square, right? And I would like to say that there are some areas where I am asking the government to look into, and I think that is a very significant part of we growing as a nation. Guyana don't really have racism. They practice semi-racism. And that comes from old stigmatization and old teachings from the old stalwarts of racist people.
Okay.
Right?
So it's taught.
Right. So as we grow as a nation, the generation becomes more wiser. Right?
Yeah.
But I am under the impression, my view, not no one else, Bevian King's view, is that we need to have all stakeholders as well as the opposition sit down, and we need to come to an understanding and a decision that both sides would work for the benefit of Guyana. Because what is happening is, I've noticed persons like a guy named Rickford Burke and certain persons from the opposition, as well as certain supporters of the PPP, they are inciting racial division and racial comments all over social media, and there is no grave penalty being instituted to these people. And those are things that continue to be a ripple effect.
Yes.
You need to put a stop to certain things because it becomes a disease. And a disease starts to spread, and we need to nip that in the bud. It does not need to happen. Our country is less than 800,000 people. Let's keep aside the expats and the visitors. We are a small-knit community. You believe me, let a vehicle crash right now and there's a black person, or a vehicle crash and there's an Indian person in need. There will not be anyone who will look at, say, hey, ain't helping me. Everyone will run to help. That's why they said in all tragedy, God's love is always shown.
Yes.
In every tragedy, God's love is always shown. Because people forget about hate, people forget about everything,
and then they work together.
Because they look at a life being lost. They look at, you know, this is a human being, this can happen to me. So why is it that when it comes time for elections, friends who are Indo-Guyanese and friends who are Afro-Guyanese are feuding over nonsense? I think that we don't need to talk inclusiveness.
Yes.
I want the president to get radical and start to create major policies and principles to show and bring inclusiveness to the Guyanese people. I know there's a process in doing it, but our country is on a fast pace of development.
Okay.
And we need to be up to speed. And if you're socially behind, it will impede the process. It doesn't make a difference if you're economically ahead. The social problems will impede the total development of the country.
Okay. As you talk about race, I want to ask you, what are some international stigma that are attached to Guyana in terms of criminal activities, profiling, racial tension, you know? How can you explain this?
Well, I wouldn't call specific countries' names, but there are many country reports and there's persons who post up on YouTube and so forth that, you know, don't come to Guyana. As a foreigner, they will kidnap you and these things.
Yes, because before you continue, when I was coming, there was a list of things that I have to follow. Don't dress like you're rich. Don't wear any jewelry. Don't have a bag in public, you know. So those were the guidelines and the rules that I followed before coming here. Continue.
Well, you see, in every country, they have crime.
Yes.
And they have true stigma, and they have stigma attached according to the view of the person doing the census.
Yes.
In being a Guyanese who live here, who is part of the policing group and part of the police organization and so forth, I am telling you that it is not completely true. I am not saying that our police force needs to be revamped and the penalties and the policies need to be more strict. For example, I feel as though the judicial system, when it comes to the magistrates and the legislation on certain crimes, is too slack the penalty needs to be more grave.
Yes.
Whereas though it will deter these criminals from coming forth after they are incarcerated to do it again. They will think twice. I mean, they're habitual offenders,
Yeah,
yes.
since we're on policing though, are the policing up to date in relation to protecting the country and the people? What are your views on that?
I think that our police force need to have a more extensive training before they release the police into society to serve and protect the people of Guyana. I think they need to have some international stakeholders come on board and teach the Guyana police force that the standing order of the Guyana police force needs to be followed, and how to conduct themselves in society and how to go about it. You see, there is a major segmentation attached where they say the police, a lot of persons say they want to join the police force because they want to throw $20,000 box a day.
Yes.
Right? Some police go into the force for their own hidden agenda, and some police go into the force to help. How do you determine who is who and who is going for what?
Yes.
This is what you do. You have a process in where persons are judged in training school, and they're met by a psychologist who will analyze their mental capacity to be able to handle the situation that they will incur in society. They do it in the States, they do it in Canada, they do it in England. So I don't see why our training is so slack and lackadaisical. I'm not saying...
How long it takes for training? Yeah.
I think the police training in Guyana is 6 months.
Oh, it's long.
Yeah, 6 months. It's not the length of time. It is what you feed them. It's what food they eat.
Yes.
You can eat all year,
But
and you get fat if you eat junk. But if you are given edifying and healthy stuff, you will maintain a nice physique and a nice figure, and you will be able to show that when come year end.
Oh, okay.
So you see, it's not. I'm not saying that the commissioner of police or the deputy commissioner of police is not doing a good job. I am saying that the persons that are put in place to follow that their instructions, like the training officers, I think they need to do a better job in training these officers and not just allowing them to come on the road because you need numbers.
Okay.
You want to have productive policing.
Yes.
You want to have police who have discipline, who will know that you just don't gun down a man unnecessarily because there's a process and a standing order and all lives matter.
Okay.
Right? So there's a lot of work needs to be done in the Guyana police force.
Okay. What are some of the... You were talking about the social impact on society. So I want to ask, what are some of the social handicap that are some of the social problems that are being faced here in Guyana?
I would like to call on the President and the Vice President and the Minister of Social Service to understand that the Ministry of Social Protection is great, but I would like to see a public relations ministry. The reason being why I would like to see that, I've been asking, I've been campaigning for it since we were in opposition. Because why? Social service only knows the information that is called in or given to them. They're not on the ground like me. They don't know what person in society, what children faces every day. Just last week, a young lady stopped me and she said, "Uncle, here's $1,000. I said, young lady, you know your mom know you're asking for money." She said, "I don't feel like," she was only 14. She said, "I don't feel like sexing today." I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Yeah, mommy just sent me by the neighbor, and the neighbor just tell me I got sexy for this and that." So I tried to get information out of her. I even tried to make a call to get someone to come there to get the child. But then she went here, she ran away, and then remember now it's a ghetto area, and I don't want to incite anything.
Yes, yes.
So I said I would see if one day that I drive around, if I see her back again, or get somebody to tell me who she is and try to get a report. But I haven't gotten around to that as yet.
Yes.
But you see, because of the economic tightness that all over the world is economically handicapped right now because of COVID, right?
Yes.
So coming out of this, there's a lot of children being molested because of simple reasons. They might want to eat, they might want some money to catch a bus to go to school, right?
Yes.
These are the things that's happening, but the ministry wouldn't know that unless someone makes a formal complaint.
Yes.
But with a community relations ministry, you would have community officers who will be in every single community every day, interacting, working the ground
for the social change.
Right. So, for example, if someone, let me say the police goes into the community and they shoot someone wrongfully, instead of the community coming out and burning tires and impeding the flow of traffic in society, or starting a riot where persons can lose their lives, you have someone to litigate on behalf of the people and the government, be an intermediary, and sit down and say, well, listen, this person did this, the people want to know this, what is the position of the government? The government will sit down and say, listen, bring this person and we're going to talk about it, we're going to discuss it, and then you put a press conference and say, this is the conclusion we have come to, the officer will be charged, instead of person saying, yeah, because a black man, and no, it deters persons to use it for their own political agenda and their own personal gain.
All right, I noticed that you're a businessman, right? So can you share some of the challenges a business person go through within the country? Are there any challenges?
When it comes to getting documentations and stuff done, I feel we have some entities here where the process is too slow, right?
Yes.
The process of bringing in goods is sometimes you order your goods on the wharf for weeks or days, because why? They don't have sufficient enough persons to do up your documents and get your stuff online for you to be able to release it to you. The next thing is that we as a business community would like to see an amnesty for the importation and exportation of goods, because as everybody in Guyana knows, the taxes on those things have raised, and a lot of the proprietors of the business have to raise it, and the consumers now are blaming us because they're saying, hey, oh y'all charging $2,000 for $500 for carrot, but carrot is not something that's grown in Guyana. It is imported.
Yes, so it will be a little bit more expensive.
Correct. So if we have an amnesty, whereas those persons will have a time frame where there will be a reduction in the taxation system, or there will be an exemption for the period of time, that would help the businesses to get back on their feet. Now, there are persons who are small businesses does not feel it as much as big businesses, because the big businesses have a bigger overhead expense and expenditure. So the small businesses can try to maneuver and crunch, but the big businesses cannot shortcut, because why? They have a high demand and they have persons who rely on that entity, and they have to maintain a standard.
If as a Jamaican, if I want to come here and start a business, that means that the process would, it all depends, the process would be slow.
Well, the first thing you have to do is that you have to get an attorney, and the attorney has to file the documentation for you to open a company. If you want to do a small business, you go to land registry, you do an application which takes I think 3 to 5 days, and they give you a business certificate stating that you can open a small business. But a company is a longer, extensive period of time with different requirements. But a small business is very easy and quick to open. You get your certificate, you get your TIN number, and you get your compliance, and you start to work.
Okay, all right. So to this question now, the world said that Guyana should be is that there should be the next Dubai.
It's like Guyana will be the next Dubai.
Will be the next Dubai. Do you think they have the capability though to become the next Dubai?
Truthfully?
Yeah.
I think under the blessings of Allah and with the right government, it is possible. But we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do as a nation and as a government.
Possible within the next how many years? A lot more years or
10.
the next 10 years, that is possible.
Because you have to remember, right? We have multiple, Guyana have multiple oil blocks still undiscovered and available.
Yeah.
And every single
Yeah, go ahead.
every single person that comes to purchase oil blocks, right? They know, the government know, has to ensure that Guyana get the best for the oil.
Okay.
We need to utilize our money that we have from the oil and gas very wisely. We need to ensure that the projects that we put online are profitable.
Yes.
And that they're beneficial for the people of Guyana. Now, you have to start. It doesn't make sense that your country move forward in becoming a Dubai, economically or physically, but socially the people is not on stream. Guyanese need to understand that Guyana is moving to a second world phase to a first world phase, and they need to stop with this, oh, it's Guyana, they're in. No, Guyanese need to take Guyana serious, and they need to understand that they need to work with the government, and the government needs to work with the people in changing their views and their ideology of how they need to conduct themselves as people of this great nation.
Yes.
Because all the oil and gas money cannot change you. It can change buildings. We can get fancy buildings, fancy road, we can get refinery, but it cannot change the people.
Yes.
And if the people cannot change with the development, no one will want to come to Guyana. Guyanese people need to change their ideology about things, and the government needs to ensure that they fight for the best for our country,
so
regardless.
They need to be a little bit more present. That means that they're more stagnant. They remain on the same level. No, the people. For them to make that change.
Yeah. I would like to see my government be more aggressive.
As an activist though, do you contribute to the development of the country? And in what ways?
Do I? Well, I think that I think collectively, and not only me, but a majority of the activists for the PPP,
yes,
we have fought very, very hard since we have gained power to work within the urban communities. I don't like to say ghetto. Work within the urban communities to change the ideology and the stigmatization attached to the People Progressive Party Civic as the PPP being a racial party. So we have worked the ground during the opposition time. We go out and we aid persons in assisting them with development of their homes. As activists, we try to mediate between the government and persons if they have an incident. Maybe a lady, she have a problem where her bridge or something is not flowing. We would go to Public Works and try to talk to the engineer and the minister to get it done. So being an activist and knowing that I represent the government, I go around and I ensure that I try to help as many persons as I can. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see. Okay. I'm a very social person. You have to start at home first.
Yes,
which is
true.
Which is Cummins Lodge. So what I've done, I've extensively campaigned to get the development of the roads. Now we have some lantern posts at the back there. We're going to try to get some lights and so forth. As far as the development as activists, I fought with the People Progressive Party statement during the no confidence motion to gain credibility and to gain us back into power.
Okay.
I protest at the Pegasus. We protest at the Parliament building, and we fought at Water Street, and different areas where I have
yes,
as an activist went all out for.
Okay, so I am now to my final question, and I truly want to thank you for having me here. But this is a question that I want to ask. What are some of the changes do you hope to see in the future of Guyana?
I would like to see better negotiations with the oil and gas contracts.
Yes.
I would like to see.
So you produce your own oil?
We have, yes, we have. Guyana has oil, and Exxon is the one irrigating the oil.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they are on the contracts to irrigate the oil and refine it and process it and sell it on the international market, and we will get a percentage of royalty. Oh,
and the gas in terms
of? I don't exactly know the full logistics and of the contract with the gas, but what we are doing, we're producing our own gas to shore.
Yeah.
Whereas though the gas will be utilized for the people of Guyana.
Okay.
Right? So I would like to see that. I would like to see the Ministry of Home Affairs clamping down more severely on criminals. I would like to see a change on some legislations in the country when it comes to penalizing certain activities, certain crime. I would like to see Guyanese people in the whole to stop with this racial division campaign. I understand that you might support the APNU, AFC, or the PPP, but at the end of the day, people, you are destroying our great nation, because no one is an island.
Yes.
And you cannot, an island cannot stand alone. It has to have people. It needs to be populated.
And people have to work together.
Exactly.
For it to
and unless we do that, the government cannot ensure that Guyana become prosperous, because the people will tear it down. The government can give you all the fancy buildings and give you all the money and raise the threshold, but if the people are behaving like savages and racists,
yes,
right? I would like to see
for the change to come.
I would like to see the I think it's the is the International Racial, the IRS. I think it's the IRS. The persons who is in charge of scrutinizing persons in Guyana in regards to racial comments, racial assaults or discrimination and ethnic discrimination and these things. I think they need to do their job. I think they're too slack when it comes to going after these people, because those persons is what starts the trickle effect. They're the ones that create the unrest in the country. It just take one person and say, oh, the Koli people kill the black man, and everybody start to go and burn tires and these things. When there is these kind of situations, they need to come into play, right? And they need to do their job. If persons make derogatory racial comments, they need to be arrested and they need to go before the court.
Yeah. So maybe something that has to be passed into law.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of legislation that needs to be done, because if your country is moving forward, you have to put legislations in place that will bring your country along with the legislation. The country can't go in the legislation, stay behind. It has to walk hand in hand in order for you to build. So that is what we need to do as a nation. And persons, I would like to say that in our society, we have persons who feel that because they hold a certain position, or they hold certain kind of clout in society, that they can at the hands of the people, they can just, how can I put it, victimize them.
Oh.
And I think
they have power.
Right. And I think, like I was watching, I listened to Rickford Burke and certain persons, and power corrupts.
Yes.
And absolute power corrupts, absolutely. But if the president and the vice president and persons step up and ensure that their ministers,
yes,
their cabinet, their junior ministers, their permanent secretaries, they follow the rules and they do the right thing,
yes,
then there will be an example that other persons in society will follow. But Rickford Burke will say, hey, yeah, but this minister doing this, and this minister doing that, and this minister is a racist. No, see, so when you show that your cabinet is for the people, they could say what they want. The people themselves will see the evidence that the People Progressive Party Civic is an inclusive party for all Guyanese.
Okay, so we're going to end it there. And Vivian King, I truly want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and views and being a part of the Chat Jamaican family. And guys, I do hope that you have learned a lot from what he has said and can develop policies and make changes to the social issues and everything. And for other countries that are watching, you too can pick out the bits and pieces and share with your country as well. Any final words before I go?
I would like to thank you for coming to our wonderful country.
Yeah.
From the short period of time I've known you, you're an incredible woman.
Yes.
We welcome you back at any time. We really appreciate you coming and being part of the Guyanese family and being able to ask us what is going on, so that you can shine a little light on to the world out there that Guyana is not no little jokey place, and it's not a place where they think it is, but it's a place of love, futuristic development. Is a place that you can come and call home. It is a place that you can come and have an evening, you can have a vacation. A lot of persons feel like Guyana, you can't come to Guyana for tourism, you can't come to Guyana to enjoy yourself, but there's a lot of things to do.
Yes.
And the government also have to create several more activities and things. Everybody comes to Kite Falls, but I think you went Kite Falls?
No, I'm going to go.
But that's what they tell you though.
Soon.
I bet you they tell you Kite Falls.
But it's so expensive to go there, so I'm gonna have to save and make sure that I get the chance to go there.
So we need a theme park in Guyana. We need let me take the seawall and create a beach. Let's judge it out. Let's judge it out. Create a beach.
You have a beach though. You have a beach?
Something like a beach.
I would have to visit that beach.
It's not. You have beaches in Jamaica.
Yes.
Guyana have I think 63 beach, but I would call it something like a beach.
Okay.
Right?
So it's close to a beach.
Yes, it's in Bora Beach.
Okay.
But we need to create tourism. We need to create eye-opening activities and things for tourism, because Guyana is a wonderful place. It's just we need to have activities.
Yes.
I mean, you could go kayaking. You can go to Rupununi and see the indigenous people fish. You can taste fresh salt fish just placed in the sun. You can eat cassava bread and jam and so forth. But that is more like a safari outing. Like persons want a family atmosphere. We need to work on that.
Family activities.
Right. We need to work on that, because Guyana don't really have that presence here.
Okay.
Right. So I hope that when you do come back, and I hope you will.
Yes.
That we will have certain things in place, and I can give you an update on all what we discussed, and Guyana is moving forward at a better rate.
Okay.
Thank you.
So guys, thank you for watching Chat Jamaican. Little more. Bye.
Yeah.
Chat Jamaican with Tania. Chat Jamaican with Tania. Jamaican with Tania. Jamaican with Tania. When me walk through the valley of